Have you ever wanted to share a PDF with Dubsado and are curious about the best way how to do that? I'm gonna show you how today. I'm Lauren with The Smarter Creative. I help creative entrepreneurs, small business owners work smarter in their business instead of harder. I am a Dubsado certified specialist, aka a Dubsado pro. I love all things Dubsado. So here's a training specific to Dubsado that I have seen a request on like the Dubsado Facebook groups about how the best way to do this is. Now there are several theories about it, and I'm going to talk a little bit about them now and in my trainings. The first one I'm going to show you is how to share with a Canva link and why you do and do not want to use that. Then I'm going to go into sharing a link through a Google Drive, or it could be a Dropbox, and then through your website. And my best tip of how to do this is at the very, very, very end, talking about using your website to work for you in sharing these to make sure your most up-to-date PDF is out there for the world, especially if you're using like a services and pricing guide. Yesterday's prices aren't today's prices, so you want to make sure you're always sending the most up-to-date guide for them. And if you just share a link to a specific uploaded PDF, that does not automatically update because those are not living documents. So I'm going to show you how to make sure that link is always up to date. And then I'm going to just share with you like why this matters, why you want to share a services and pricing guide as a PDF instead of a form. And we'll go into that as well. So yeah, thanks for being here. Okay, we are gonna start in Canva. I have my prices and services guide here. I think it's an 8.5 by 11 inch, maybe an A4 document, whatever. And I have the ability to share this document directly with someone to view from Canva. So up at the share, I am going to say can view. Anyone with the link can view, or you can always grab a view only link. So I'm going to copy this. Let me open up an incognito window and drop it in. Lovely. So this is my whole document. I've got all 13 pages. I can flip through it here. All of my links in the PDF document work. Well, it's a PDF if I save it as. Right now it's just like a digital guide. And so let's talk about peaks and pits, so perks and misses sharing your document this way. So a peak is, this is a living document. So if you make any edits inside of your Canva, that's going to be reflected in the link that you send out. This link will always have the most up-to-date changes inside of it. So that is awesome. It stinks that this still says Canva in it. I know if you're a designer, you might not want to be boasting that you built it inside of Canva. I know there's like stigma around it. So that's kind of a bummer. And the other bummer is you cannot print or save this document. Like it is literally a view only link. Like I can look at it, I cannot print it, and I cannot save it. And honestly, the printing aspect, I don't think is like the worst thing in the world. I don't think many people are going to want to print your pricing and services guide, but the fact that you cannot save it is a bummer. So the only time that they can get it is going to be to like use the link that you sent them. You have the option to like share it, but it's still just this link. It's not the actual document itself. It's just the active link for this virtual document. So that is definitely a bummer. So it's up to you how you want your client to be able to use guides. If this is it, if you just want them to be able to see it and link to it, great. For me, this is not my preference. I would rather actually share a PDF with them. So let's go to that. So I'm going to go ahead and download this guide, all 13 pages, as a PDF standard. I'm going to do a standard in case they want to save it to their desktop. It doesn't need to be a huge file. And we're going to save it.
And then I'm going to go over to Google Drive and upload it. All right, I went ahead and uploaded it into my Google Drive. You can do this in Google Drive. You can do it in Dropbox. You can do it in OneDrive, wherever you digitally store documents. You can do it here. So in this, I'm going to share, and I want to make sure my link is anyone on the internet can view this link. I want anyone to be able to grab that link and view it. So now if I open up an incognito window with that Google Drive link, so anyone now can see my PDF, they can scroll through it. They have the option to save it, to print it. They do not need a Google account in order to view this. That goes the same for Dropbox. Dropbox, you can share a link. Anyone with the link can see it. They can save it to their computer, or they can print it out. And still my links that I have embedded in here work. I can tell because it goes into like the pointer, and I can see in my bottom left-hand corner where that is linking out to. Because here I have it set up that if you see something and you want to go ahead and schedule it, you can, in a click of a button, go ahead and schedule the service. If you don't need to talk to me first, you can just go ahead and book call, book the VIP day, book the whatever. You can go ahead and do it. So that is it in Google Drive to be able to save this URL here. So I'm going to keep this open, and I'm going to go then into Squarespace and show you how to be able to upload your PDF on your Squarespace website. Okay, so inside of my Squarespace, I like to have a non-published page where I can just play around with things, upload photos or links, however I need it. So I'm going to add a new button, and under settings, under your setting gear, we are going to do a file. And then I'm going to go ahead and upload my guide I just downloaded. And so I want to wait for it to actually upload into Squarespace. And then I'm going to select it to make sure that there is a checkbox next to it. Open it in a new window and save it. Perfect. Now, when I hit done, I'm just going to save it. I'm not going to publish it. This button will open in a new window my PDF. And it is named, if I wouldn't have had my spaces, it would not have had so many plus signs, but that's fine. But it is the exact same here as it would be in a Google Drive. It is just fully static to my website. Everything still works the same as before. It is not, however, actually like hosted on your website for like this part of the thing. It still says Squarespace on it. It doesn't have my Smarter Creative, so that's a little bit of a bummer, but it's not the biggest deal in the world. And here you can just print it or save it just like that. So this is, I want to make sure I save this PDF as well, that URL link. And now I just want to show you like my ultimate favorite way of sharing a linked PDF, because this URL, this is a static web link. Like this web link will always attach to this PDF. Like maybe I can update it, but I'd be worried that this static link is going to change if I change my file that's attached to it. So I'm going to encourage you to create on your website a 301 redirect, and I'll show you how to do that. So we're going to go into settings, advanced, URL mappings, and this is called different things on different platforms. On WordPress, there's a redirection widget that you can add in, and it actually like tracks how many times that redirect was used. It's super helpful. So how you do it is it tells you down below what you need to do to map on Squarespace. So I'm going to say, I already have a pricing up above because I'm actually using this. So I'm going to say pricing 2. Whoa. Pricing 2. And we're going to make an arrow. And then that pricing 2 is going to go to, let's make it go to our Google Drive document. And I'm going to paste that. And then I'm going to type in 301 for the type of redirect. Perfect. And that is saved. So now if I go to Smarter Creative / pricing 2, enter, it will take me to my Google Drive document. So in the future, if I change my pricing, I want a new guide to go out, I can come over to my redirection and change this URL here to be the updated PDF that I want them to go to. That way, any client who I have previously sent the link to, I've previously just sent them the Smarter Creative /pricing to, this URL is what I have sent out. It's going to go to wherever I redirect it to. This is huge for people who like hang on to your pricing for a while. It doesn't help if someone were to download a previous pricing guide of yours, that pricing would be old pricing, but all of your links would be live going forward. And this is super magical for any canned emails and workflows that you do. You do not have to update those emails every time you update your pricing and services. So that's huge. So that is the URL that we want to use. And then this is like pricing to is not an actual page on my website. It's the beauty of these redirects, these 301s. That page is not a real thing, but I'm telling my website, like anytime someone types that in or goes to that URL, I want them to go to this specific place instead. It's awesome. So let us go into Dubsado and actually put this to work. So I am in my canned emails of Dubsado. And let's say I have a general inquiry response and it says, fill out the form below. After you fill it out, we'll follow up with next steps. Maybe it's if you're curious about all of our pricing and services, check out our guide here. Or maybe it is going to be, I'll show you how to do it both ways. So if we do here, this URL, I want it to be my pricing to URL. So I'm going to go formatting options, link, pricing to, new tab, please. Great. So that is a link and I can actually test it. And it takes me to that Google Drive that I told my website to use. And then this guy, I can actually make it a button. Lovely. And I want to make sure it's centered. This is a little like Dubsado 2.0 because this form link button up on top, that is going to be centered. All of your canned email smart field that end up being buttons are always centered. So I want to make sure this is centered too, so it's consistent in how it looks. I wish we had the option to make that left justified, but at this point we do not. But this is then a button and you can go ahead and open it up and it's the exact same thing. So every inquiry that I have then can see this pricing and services guide, and all I have to do is update it on my website using the 301 redirect to the correct URL. Alternatively, you could link this to the actual Google Drive document or what you uploaded your PDF to your Squarespace, or you could put the Canva link here that we had grabbed earlier. All of those can say the same. And again, the issue with having one of the Canva doc is living, like that would be fine to drop here. Like that pricing would always stay consistent, but again, you wouldn't be able to print it or save it. And then having the PDF link from either Google Drive or Squarespace directly, you have to update that on Dubsado every time you go to use it. And that's kind of a bummer. And especially if you have multiple workflows that, because based on like what they chose, you are sending this pricing and services guide for everything, and your workflow triggered if they want one-on-one coaching or group coaching or wedding interest or branding interest, but you want to make sure they have access to everything that you offer. You have to update that link every single place that this link is used. And like, let's just not do that. So the question you might be asking then is, Lauren, why, with everything fancy that Dubsado does, why am I sending out a PDF link? Why can't I just use like it inside of Dubsado? Great question. You can upload a PDF directly. So I can select my services guide and send it this way. and I would be able to update it, everything. Now, Dubsado renames my PDF guide, which is a super bummer. I don't know why they do it, but we can add it. And then the issue, I can send this into any project through a workflow, but the biggest issue I have with Dubsado is you cannot send multiple forms questionnaires on an email or a scheduler with a form. Like, you can only have one smart link button going out. So for my onboarding process, I really want to try to get you on a clarity call so I can meet you, get to know you, see if we're a good fit. And I'm going to send that scheduler call through a workflow, but I also want you to see my services and pricing. If you have any questions about it, maybe you didn't fully go through my website. I try to be pretty clear on my website, but who has time for that? So I want to make sure I send it over to you when you inquire with me, and I want to book a call with you. So my workflow sends over that scheduler call, and I need to then link to my services PDF, and I cannot link both a form and a scheduler on an email out from Dubsado. Super unfortunately, but you can't. So that's a workaround where it can be like, here's my pricing and schedule a call. So like there's two links there for them, and then only one of them is actually like tied to your Dubsado with the workflows and automations. So that is why I like to do it that way. And again, you always have the most up-to-date information based on that live 301 redirect, or maybe your Canva doc, whatever it is. Now there are certain things, like I do like have my W-9 uploaded here, and then I put it so that through a workflow that PDF just automatically gets added into their client portal, because more than likely working with me, you're going to be spending, at least here in the States, more than the $500 or $600 limit of working together, and your company might need a W-9 for me in order to let the government know that you hired me for my services. So that automatically gets added into the back end of the system. I don't email it out. It just goes out in a workflow. And that's fine. That's just there and ready for you if you ever have to do your taxes or have it in reference. And anytime you go to your portal, it's there. I don't want my portal active for a lead. Like I don't want to send them to my portal for the PDF. So that is why we do it this way. And you have options otherwise, but yeah.
If you found that helpful, I would love for you to subscribe to my channel. Hit that bell so you get notifications. I put new videos out every Friday. If you are in your Dubsado and you are so overwhelmed, that is what I love to do. I love walking into overwhelmed business owners, helping them make sense of their Dubsado. I do VIP days, I do full Dubsado builds, and I do just strategy calls, and that's going to be dependent on the level of help that you need. And so if you are interested in that, go ahead and use the link in the description to book a clarity call with me. Free 30-minute calls. I love chatting. Let's see if we're a good fit. If I'm a good fit for you, you for me, same and same. So yeah, schedule your call today, and I will talk to you soon. If you have any requests, things that you are stuck on with Dubsado or just want to see from my channel, let me know in the comments down below. I love hearing from you guys. I love putting out content that is needed. So just give me a heads up what you're thinking about, what you're looking for. I'm always keeping an eye out on like Facebook groups and forums of like what questions are coming up there. Want to answer you here. And yeah, I hope you guys have a wonderful week.
All the flowers in my garden never looked as bright as this. Like a happy child of worship.